So this story is called The Treasure Hunt by by Nick Butterworth, and it's all about Percy the Park Keeper again. My last one in this series I've got for you. Percy's keeping busy again. "Good morning," said Percy the Park Keeper as he stepped out of his hut. In his hand, Percy was holding some posters which he had just made. He pinned one of them to his door. "What does it say?" asked one of Percy's rabbit friends. "Oh, I'm sorry," said Percy, and he read out loud. "I'm organising a treasure hunt. All those who would like to come meet at the bandstand after breakfast tomorrow morning. Signed, Percy." "I want to come," said the badger. "So do I," said the fox. "What is it?" "It's a game," said Percy. "One person goes off and leaves a trail of clues for the others to follow. The clues are messages, and one clue leads to the next, until you find the treasure at the end." "I can read a bit," said the fox. He and the other animals stared at each other, at another of Percy's posters. Percy smiled as he noticed they were holding it upside down. "I'll do drawings instead of messages," he said. The next morning, when the animals met together, there was no sign of Percy. They thought that Percy must have forgotten, until one of the squirrels noticed something. "Look, there's a piece of paper with a picture on it. Could it be a clue?" The squirrel was right. On the paper, Percy had drawn a picture of a seesaw. "That must be where we have to go first," said the badger. They hurried over to the playground. Sure enough, another piece of paper had been pinned to the seesaw. "I'll get it," said the mice, and he scampered up the seesaw. Great word. This time Percy had drawn a picture of a statue. "I know where that is," said the rabbit. "Follow me," and off they went. By now, Percy had put nearly all of pieces of paper in place. He whistled as he walked along his favourite path at the edge of the park. "Only two left," said Percy as he tucked one of his clues into a crack in a signpost. He stopped for a moment and gazed over the fields which lay beyond the park. Percy reached into his pocket and was pleased to find some chocolate. It was chocolate money, wrapped in gold paper. "A good job I brought a snack," said Percy. "I'm feeling quite peckish." Slowly he ate every single piece of the chocolate. Then Percy realised what he had done. He had eaten the treasure. The animals were having great fun. Percy's trail of clues led them all over the park. The seesaw, the statue, the tool shed, the bridge. In every place they found a picture showing them where to go next. But now, as they searched for a clue around the signpost at the edge of the park, it didn't seem quite so easy. "Bother," said the badger. "I can't see a clue anywhere." The fox kept looking at the letters on the signpost. He was sure they were trying to tell him something. "I wonder," he muttered to himself. Suddenly the fox announced, "This signpost is the next clue. We have to follow it." "But it leads out of the park," said the hedgehog. It was too late. The fox had already set off. The others looked at each other and they followed after him. The fox led them across a field. In the middle there stood a tall tree which had been struck by lightning. Further on there was a cattle shelter. Something was moving behind it. "It looks like Percy," said the fox. "That must be where he's putting the treasure." The animals rushed towards the cattle shelter. It was Percy, but there was something there, and something said, "Moo!" It was a young calf. "Moo!" said the calf loudly again. The animals squealed and ran in fright towards the tree in the middle of the field. The calf chased after them. She wanted to play. The animals scrambled up the tree as fast as they could. They didn't like this game at all. "What do we do now?" wailed the hedgehog. He was answered by someone who had been watching it all. "You don't find clues up there," chuckled Percy. "Why don't you come down and meet Lucy?" Who's Lucy? Lucy the calf was very friendly. When the animals had calmed down and had been properly introduced, she gave them a ride across the field to the park fence. Everyone chattered happily as they bumped along. "We didn't find the treasure," said Fox, "but we found a friend." Percy coughed and wiped the corner of his mouth with his handkerchief. "And don't you think friends are better than treasure?" Percy said. Well, said the hedgehog, I think they're about the same, Percy smiled. I think you're right, he said. Percy doesn't know that he dropped 3 pieces of the treasure on his way around the park. Can you go back in the video and find the 3 pieces of treasure that he dropped? Thank you for listening. Bye.